It's not hard to see the expressions of those principles, the love and the fear, in everything around us. When we associate the word beauty with an object or some form of expression, what we're looking at is the ease of flow in its creation, the allowance. That's the expression that we associate with the terms beauty, the smooth flowing curves and lines of a beautiful body or a flower or something like that. That's very, very complex, yet not necessarily complicated. And if we go the other way, if we look at the characteristics of fear and their expressions, what does fear do? It obstructs, it disallows, it forms obstacles to the flows of energy, and that creates a need for circumventation of those obstacles, and that creates lumps and bumps where there probably shouldn't be lumps and bumps, and it creates blockages that pressure from the flow builds up behind those blockages and creates bulges and sometimes ruptures and explosions and ugly jagged edges and sharp lines and things that we associate with the term ugliness. So we can see the characteristics of simplicity versus complication expressed in the world around us through their shapes and their forms. So that's why I say beauty is simple logic, because it is the expression of simple, complex, yes, but not necessarily overcomplicated logic. Whereas the term ugliness, I don't want to call anybody ugly, because nobody is ugly, but the awful expressions when you see lumps in people's faces and things like that, well, that's due to their internal complication, you see, because it all comes from the inside and it works its way out, and of course it works both ways as well. But essentially, the mind, everything stems from the mind. The body, and including the environment, sometimes it gets to a point. It all comes from the mind, and that's part of my experience. As I've been clearing out these rigid belief systems from my mind, I've actually felt, the electrical lightning storms going off in my head as these things are going off one after the other, bang, 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 bang. It's like I'm electrically blasting out chemical blockages in my mind's pathways. And at the same time, that's being reflected throughout my body in the form of pain, and an overloaded lymph system, which is a sewage system where all that junk was backed up behind blockages in my body that corresponded to blockages in my mind. And when they are released, all this junk is released suddenly, and it all comes back to the sewage system and overloads the sewage system, which is fine, because I knew what was going on. I intuitively knew what was happening. At the same time as I was going through this process of clearing the mind, while I had these lightning storms going off in my mind, I could feel it electrically. I could actually feel it. Well, you're not supposed to have sensors in your brain. Maybe there's sensors on the skin and they're triangulating, because I could actually feel roughly where it was coming from. And all the shit that was coming out of my brain as well, because your brain makes waste. And it fills up your sinus system and comes out in all sorts of forms, whichever way it comes out. And as I was doing this, my neck was getting really, really stiff. Really, really stiff. It was just filling up with crap, and I was always continually moving my head back and forth and trying to work out all these channels to break down this crystallized crap that's been forming in them, to liquefy it and then gasify it in a way. This is... I don't know anything about the Kundalini. I won't talk about that, but there are some similarities to a few things I've read as I go through these motions. But for me, it's all about just clearing out these rigid structures in my mind, and they once they're gone, everything seems to open up. When I'm doing this, I often take those deep breaths involuntarily, like the spiritual teachings, yogis, and they tell you got to do these deep breaths and stuff. Well, you don't have to do these deep breaths. That's like some scribe sitting there watching a master at work, and just writing down, he took a deep breath, you got to do deep breaths, and he waved his arms in the air, you got to wave your arms in the air. Well, that's a load of shit. They're all symptoms of the process, alright? So I don't mean to rubbish you guys, But understand that you don't have to do anything. This all happens involuntarily. This is all part of the process. So anybody thinking they've got to take a deep breath, if you take a deep breath, because you're oxygenating your system, but it's not going to it's not going to make you more self-aware, because it's actually part of that process. There's so much bullshit to clear up, and well, you clear up your own bullshit. I've cleared up most of mine, and it's allowed me to see things that I can't see, just to understand how things work. So, well, let's see. We see these expressions of love versus fear, allowance versus disallowance, yes versus no, expressed also in things like complication versus qualification, or complication versus simplicity, yes, but not complication, quantity versus quality. Where we have quality, we have simplicity in effect. Where we have quantity, we have more complication in effect. Where are some other places? The concentration thing, which is a focus of energy, versus just allowing, not concentrating, just being in the moment, allowing what is to be, rather than impressing your ideas and projecting your ideas about what things are supposed to be according to your subconscious beliefs that have been hammered into your subconscious mind ever since you got that first slap on the bum. That need to try, that idea that life success is hard work. Yeah, well, it can be, but it doesn't have to be. It's only hard work because we resist what is. We try to make things. We're trying to push against the current, swim against the currents. Everything's got to be the way we believe it's supposed to be. The should, instead of just going with the flow and moving with the cycles of time, which alternate, by the way. There are times for repetitious action and learning, and there are times for just letting go and allowing the experience to just happen. And and those peaks of the time wave, as some call it, this time wave that's compressing, that was supposed to end at the end of the year 2012, in December the 21st. Well, I actually had a compression experience on 21st of December 2012, but it's not the last one, because I've had 3 now, and I've extrapolated that the last one for me will probably end up around the end of this year sometime. I'm thinking maybe because some of my experiences, one of them lasted 3.5 months, and that was a huge one. That's where I did most of my clearing, most of my belief clearing work. I went through a lot of pain through that time as well, but an incredible amount of joy as well. It was just a beautiful experience, and the pain was nothing compared to the joy. And I knew what it was for, and by offering no resistance to it, it just disappeared, dissipated, and it went through it very, very quickly. Everything worked through it all very quickly. There's a lot of stuff about triangulation of time and comparison to my personal history and all that sort of stuff with a high universal mind and all that. It's all about tracking down the dimensions in a way. There's a lot to talk about there. There's something I won't go into right now. But I think the point I'm trying to make here is that we don't have to commit effort and try to remember, try to focus on something in order to beat it into our brain, so to speak. We don't have to don't be afraid of just letting things go, because they'll always come back. They'll always be there for you when you need it. It's a funny thing. See, there are different forms of memory. There are chemical memory, there's even more solid memory, and there's less solid memory. There's one form of memory throughout the universe is the lag time, the communication lag time between 2 points of space. And there's so many different speeds at which that travels as well, like the speed of the internet. Lag time is a form of memory. And it's a short-lived form of memory, depending on the lag time, compared to the memory of a rock sedimentary rock or something carved in stone that lasts for thousands of years. But it can also hold an incredible amount of information in a very short space and time. And we're more than just a computer. Our minds are a transmitter and receiver as well. When we could connect the left and right hemispheres and create a harmonic resonance between the two, because everything's vibration, and by removing all the beliefs, we're speeding up our left hemisphere, our brain. We're making it more fluid, more electrical, more vital, and it starts to match the speed of the right, and it starts to build a harmonic resonance between the left and the right brain, and in that form it communicates with the right brain. That's how we improve our intuition. I mean, in some teachings they turn off the left brain, they turn off the thinking mind in order to access their intuitive mind and their higher selves. Well, okay, I guess that works if you want to. It's a bit of it's like you're not going to. If your left mind is disengaged, you can't really bring that information back. It disappears. It just goes away. But if you leave your thinking mind on, and you can reference that information with your personal experience and join the dots as you go, using that information as a guide, when you're actually learning something, and you can do that incredibly fast. It's like bang, bang, bang. Sometimes I think I've lived a lifetime in a day. I'm not kidding, and I've been in experiences now for a total of probably around for 6 months. 6 months. 3 separate experiences. And any consolidation or investment in, anything less than following my highest purpose and my highest joy is going to stop that experience. It's going to bring me back. It's going to pull me back into repetition. It's going to pull me out of the novel experience. Now, this thinking, this harmonic resonance between the two minds, as it grows stronger and stronger and stronger, and your brain's an antenna. Every part of your body's an antenna, actually. Your hair's an antenna. Your heart's a carrier wave generator. Right? People say it's the strongest field generator in your body. Our scientists have measured it, and as far as people can say, oh, it must be what you think with and all that sort of stuff. Well, it's not what I think with, because I don't feel anything in my heart except for when it bleeds. Understand, all emotion is a waste product. It's a product of resistance to the flow of energy. It's shit. That's what it is. You don't see. I came to the point where I couldn't. I could be sitting there crying, bawling my eyes out day after day. Well, I wouldn't be, because the experience would stop if I just wasted my time bawling my eyes out. But I had to learn to not necessarily control my emotions, but automatically came to the point where I could instantly switch them on and off. I let them go because I didn't want to resist my emotions. That's fine. It's all part of life. But I'd have a realization. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, yeah. And all of a sudden, straight back to business. No worries. That's all gone. That's done and dusted. It is a waste product. It's a product of resistance and inefficiency of the mind to allow the information to flow through it fluidly and quickly and on broadband, and similarly with the body, as it converts food into energy, and there's a lot of waste product from that, where there doesn't have to be if the body's working efficiently. There's much less waste product. Doesn't matter what food you eat. It manages to burn it all up. When I'm in those states, I need very little sleep. I need very little food. Sometimes I've gone for weeks and weeks eating a couple of mandarins a day, and sleeping 2 or 3 hours. Other times, I sleep half a day when I'm not in those experiences, and I eat a lot more. And in a way, I'm being fed from a higher energy source, And other times, I'm feeding lower energy sources. We're all part of the food chain, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just by being able to accept it, That's what it is. That's fine. I want to help everybody else because I am everybody else. You know what I mean?